Hey Tiffany.
Hey Zach, how are you? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
I guess this is our last art talk of the year before we continue next year. And we're going to be talking about Isaac Levitan, who is I think one of our favorite Russian painters. He was born in 1860, unfortunately passed away at 1900. So I guess he only lived to 40 years old. But I love his paintings because I think a lot of his paintings are really well composed and they carry this really nice emotional impact that really captures. He was really fascinated with capturing the Russian landscapes as they were throughout different seasons. And I think his paintings just really have that nice, honest rawness to them. And so I thought we'd go over a few of his paintings today of different, actually, they all contain rivers, but different times of day as well. So this first one we're starting with here is a more of a sunny landscape. And do you want to kick it off with why you like this one? I think you chose this one.
Yeah, I chose this one because you scanned a bunch of images
I
from your
did.
book, and this was the most colorful one. You picked a couple gray ones, so I was like,
I
I'm gonna pick
did.
a colorful one, and we can like figure out like why it works. And something that was unique about this is the light is coming from um the front of the image.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah, like front lighting. Yeah, almost kind of like that.
um, by the way, when you're doing color keys, does your production designer, art director like draw these arrows for you ever?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
sometimes. Yeah. Like when they're breaking down a scene, they're like, the light's gonna come from here. Yeah, it does help with the 3D triangle.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, you can tell because the shadows are coming in this way. Um, and yeah, it's always difficult to paint something when like everything is kind of lit. So I was like,
Right.
why does this piece still work? And something that was cool about this was how he organized the trees. Like, so these trees close to
Mm.
us, there's a lot of texture and detail in them. And then the middle ground trees, yeah, they're smaller, a nice simple shape,
Hmm.
and less detail in them.
Hmm.
And then as we go back, shapes are even smaller and more simple.
Right. That's a
Um,
great. I love how you brought up shapes and texture. So the balance of big, medium, and small shapes, along with the relative texture, with foreground and background. Oh, hey, Justin. Um, I didn't put on my fake background today. I think that really lends itself to almost, I think, capturing that crispness. So I think that like the leaves in the foreground, they almost have this shimmer and then less so in the back. But I think that does help. Also the leaves and not the leaves, but the plants in the bottom right as well. Yeah, like even those slight light shapes, I just love them. Like those little light shapes, like almost white and that's probably not pure white. But I think they do so much. Ooh, yeah, zoom in there. Look at the texture on the ground there as well.
yeah, I was noticing like how textural it is here, less texture, less. Um, so that's a great way to show the depth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And value wise, yeah, if you turn it black and white, it's very simple. Oh, actually, you know what's interesting? I couldn't actually tell before you turned it black and white, but the yellow and the trees are almost the same values as parts of the ground, I guess, almost. Actually, no, a little bit lighter. But I think we're talking about off camera how to me it's a very simple kind of light dark pattern, similar to what Japanese wood blocks do. Like most of this painting, I would say, is in light because it's this harsher front light. But I think the trees make for a really nice light pattern that kind of weaves itself throughout. the painting. What do you think? Zach's working his magic again with the oh,
Well,
dust and scratches. I've never tried that before. I always learn something from you in each talk. It's like a little cool trick. I do median.
oh, you'll have to show me that one.
Yeah,
Um,
that
yeah, because we were talking about value, like you were mentioning that the trees they kind of group into like the ground value, but like a little bit lighter.
a little bit lighter. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, it's nicely grouped. And then when we kind of blur everything, we can definitely see, like everything's like a middle gray. Uh,
Right.
and then we've got, um, like the sky and then the river coming in.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's just like a nice, like simple composition.
yeah, yeah. And also, I think what really is cool, especially after you've blurred it, is those the darkest accents in between the tree trunks in the left foreground and even dispersed, in the background as well, like where the bank meets the water. There's some, outlining the curve, and some parts, yeah, like yeah, where you're kind of outlining. I think those do a lot in emphasizing, the separation between things and shapes. Because I think without those, everything would kind of just blend in maybe, but I think those darkest accents do a lot, as along with the lightest accents. So you mentioned the sky, the river, and then I would also add, you kind of can't see it now because it's blurred, but those birch trees or whatever those trees are, those thin, beautiful thin trees, I think they're these delicate shapes that break up these larger masses of the ground, which I think is really nice as well. Um, and it's like this vertical versus horizontal as well, which is nice. So lots of compositional value elements going on, which I think is what makes this piece work really well from black and white and color standpoint.
Yeah. Actually, I just realized I drew the light wrong because I didn't realize that the shadows are going this way.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So before someone yells at us,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, very curt shadows though. So it's probably I'd say it's probably looks around maybe 10 or 11 o'clock. I don't know, like noon, or close to noontime or something. What do you think? I always like to,
yeah, they're not like
yeah.
super long. So
Yeah. Yeah, they're not super long shadows. Um, but yeah, I just love those delicate birch tree trunk shapes that break up. And even in the back too. Like if you circle the midground, those do so much too. There's a grouping right there. Yep, right there. And then one on the right side there that stands out. And I think those are really things that are worth paying attention to as well.
yeah, because if we didn't have those, I think we really need those because everything is like these masses of like texture and
Hmm.
simple shapes,
Hmm.
and then the trees kind of ground the piece, give us like a little bit
Right.
of detail, a little bit of structure.
For sure. For sure. I also love the flowers on the dotting the ground as well. They actually, you can read them more when it's black and white. Color wise, I mean, I think it's also uh what would you say? I don't want to say it's not simplistic. It is sophisticated in its own way, but it's uh it's very effective, I think, in terms of the yellow, maybe a little bit more saturated, and then all those kind of muted grays around it. What do you think?
Yeah, I I probably don't love the colors in this.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think it works fine, but actually let's try something.
Okay.
Um, gonna like roll in his grave. Let me see. Let's try image, adjustments, replace color. Let's see if we like,
Ooh, are you making the sky more gray?
yeah.
That's cool.
Like if I was painting it, I would do this because I
Hmm.
felt like it's like too much color. Now the piece is about the
Mm,
the trees
that
and
was really cool.
the
That
earth.
was really cool. Yeah,
Um, we
I
can
love
try.
that.
Wonder if we leave maybe
Kind of desaturating other parts to really make the
yeah.
yellow stand out or something.
Well, like if we got rid of the red, now it's
Uh-huh.
more about like the blue sky.
The blue sky, yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
even just this alone, it's just so cool to see how changing one part of the colors in one part of the painting affect the whole mood of the painting or how you see other colors around. So even just watching you do this, I was like, wow, my I guess the mood that it conveyed to me completely changed. Even maybe the time of day and things like that, or the kind of weather and things like that. So just changing the saturation and temperature of colors alone can do so much.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Also, the shadows are just so dark. Um, I would I would probably personally add a little bit of warmth in them, but I think it's bold that he did that. But yes, we can move on to the next one.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that Edgar Payne piece. Well, when Edgar Payne paints like trees, he has like so much bounce light and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's look at these.
So these two, yeah, these were other two that I scanned from the book, and I really like them because to me, they showed kind of different scenarios of slightly overcast, like not completely overcast. It's kind of those mid overcast, kind of sunny, silvery days. I personally thought they're really beautiful because I just love gray paintings for some reason. And so, yeah, I wanted to show them and talk about them. But on the left one, would you say that that's kind of similar frontal-ish lighting as the one before?
Yeah, we can tell by the shadows. Um, so our light is coming in
Yeah, somewhere like
this.
that. And if
Um,
you're wondering how we can try to tell, it's because we're looking at the length and the shape of the shadows. So the longer the shadow is, or the direction of the shadow, the longer the shadow is, usually it's early in the morning or later in the evening. And then when it's noontime, the shadows are very shallow, very curt, and very bland. That's how them. But no, he makes it not bland here. But yeah, lighting coming from somewhere there. Um, and that whole front side of the building is lit, which I personally love that slight warmth and value contrast in that area.
it's just a little bit more saturated than the sky, so it
Right,
forward.
right, right. And I just also really like the I don't know, the trees are almost kind of gray, but there's kind of like a warmish greenish gray. I can't quite describe it, but the slight warmth in the trees, I think, does a lot. That's probably how Russian landscapes look like. Not super set. Yeah, you're color picking it. They look so gray, almost like a camouflage color, I guess, or khaki or something. But within the painting, I think it works really well. And I'm just trying to figure out why that is, I guess. I would be tempted to saturate the green a little bit more, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I think he
It's actually,
shows a lot of restraint. What?
sorry, I interrupted. It's actually like not even green. It's all like right in here, like
Right
yellow.
there. Right, right, right.
And I think
Exactly.
because it's desaturated and because of the colors around it, it makes it feel green.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's that whole simultaneous contrast thing going on. Yeah, then you can put the color of this. So that feels really warm, a lot warmer in comparison, or relatively warmer. Um, and composition wise, I just love how there's actually simple diagonals going on both of these paintings as well, which I think are really effective. Yeah. kind of almost split in half, that diagonal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he offsets it. In the right one, he offsets it by that horizontal cliff in the back, which I think is cool. Otherwise, it'd be a
You're,
perfect split.
you talking about this
Oh
clip?
no, I was talking about the right painting. Sorry, I
Oh,
jumped to the right painting. I meant yeah, yeah. I was saying he offsets that diagonal with that horizontal aspect of the cliffs in the back. Yeah. Otherwise, it'd be kind of if you draw a line from the top of the hill to the bottom, it's almost like an exact split of the canvas.
yeah.
Yeah. But you
Uh,
don't notice it because of the horizontal cliffs in the back, I think. I think that's my theory.
see where the middle is. Yeah, these like actually this needs to come down.
Yeah, like somewhere right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's kind of putting the horizon in like a third. Um,
Right. You're right. Yep, yep, yep.
because if it was it's close to the middle in this one, but by shifting it up, it just makes a much better
Yeah.
composition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then you mentioned the cliffs, and these create like arrows that kind of pull you
Mm-hmm.
back in. Because if we just had get rid of this, we just had that, our
Mm.
eye
Would
actually,
escape out there.
yeah, we just
Yeah.
go this way, but
Yeah.
because of
That's a really
this,
good
it
point.
pulls us back in
Can you do the same for the right? Like, can you just take out that whole cliff in the back if it's just sky and water and you couldn't really see?
like this.
Yeah, or just take out that whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I just want to see how that feels. That feels so even. You see what I mean? Like that whole diagonal split. To me, it does at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, it's like 50-50.
Yeah, it is 50-50. Yeah. And that is interesting how certain elements can do so much in tricking your eye.
Mhm. We
But you're
did,
right, especially in the left one. Like if I'm just squinting, like yeah, my eye just wants to whoosh and then go go exit out of the painting. I
yeah.
think something Kwang Ho told me that reminds me of this. I took one of his workshops and he said that you want to lead the viewer around and maybe I hope I'm not butchering it, but you want to keep them in. Sometimes have little exits for them, but find ways to keep them in and circle around. But it's also okay to have some exits. In this case, I think your eye can circle and maybe can exit out of the sky and stuff. But that's just something that I always remember. I think I heard that from him. I might have maybe gotten mixed up, but it's something that's always kind of been in the back of my mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I tried to design every shape so it points us back to our focal point.
Right.
So then no matter where you're looking in the piece, it kind of like draws you back in somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that we are saying about this one that was interesting. There's a lot of these like shadow shapes, but
Mm-hmm.
he's grouping them. There's like
Mm-hmm.
a mass here,
Mm-hmm.
a mass here, because this could easily become,
Too much.
yeah, like if it was like this part here
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, then our eye wouldn't have like these nice areas to kind of rest and because these shapes become like a nice shape to
Totally.
pull us around.
Definitely. Yeah. It's just the way he makes it look easy, but I know from experience trying to capture these, darker shapes in the foliage, it's so easy to make the shapes. At least I do this. I don't know about you. Maybe you're really good at randomizing your shapes. Like I'll just put the same equal shapes and the same space and I'll step back and be like, looks awful, looks too even. And then I'll have to group and I'm always, looking to group, separate, cut in, cut out. But I think he makes it look so organized, like so composed well. It doesn't feel too busy. It could easily kind of feel like chicken pox or something, like just evenly spaced dots. But I think he randomizes it in a way that feels organic, but also, like you said, leads your eye diagonally up and across. And yeah, still lots of lovely grouping going on.
Mm.
Yeah. And I also love the slight warmth in the sky as well.
I'm just gonna
Ooh, that's cool.
bluest blue. So the piece has like a nice gradient from warm to cool.
Mm. Oh, I love how you just simplified it that way. That's really cool. I never thought of breaking down a painting that way, just the color swatching it.
Um, it's kind of it's like a nice gradient.
You're right.
And then just a little bit more like
Did you color pick that from the painting?
I color picked it and it didn't look right. So
That's crazy. That feels so much warmer if that was from the it's like
let's
a
see.
one-off pics. Yeah, okay. That I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, that looks completely different. Nice. I think seeing you breaking down these paintings like this so abstractly is so helpful because I love how you start off that gradient and then you pick the lightest areas and then broke down the gradients in the lightest areas as well, which I think is really cool. Uh, and I think this is a really helpful way to start understanding a painting. You know, if you're at home doing this or something, any of you watching, like what he just did, I think is a really, really nice, fast way to understand temperature and value.
Mm. And you do the same thing like in your book where you did like 100 paintings that were like teeny tiny,
Yeah.
right? It's just
Yeah.
like a few brush strokes capture
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
areas of color and then
Right.
focal
Right.
point and
Yeah.
then it's done.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Force myself to use a 1 inch brush on a 2 inch painting. So, by doing that, you just really focus on the big masses, kind of like what you're doing now. Yeah. But I like that. I want to do it more for digital painting or like like what you just did, breaking it down digitally for master paintings, I guess. So I think that was really cool. But because we were just talking about the temperature in the sky and how I think this notion that people have is overcast sky is just gray, like it's just one kind of gray. And you can see here in both of Levitan's paintings, there's the left painting has this gradient from warmer to cool, like that greenish. Nathan Fowkes does this too, like this greenish tinge to blue. And then the right painting has these purples and then gets a little bit warmer. And it's that slight gradation, but with the same value-ish, especially on the right painting. I think that's really effective. And what you basically broke down in your color key. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think these two are lovely. Is there anything else you want to say about them?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we covered it.
Awesome. This is Isaac Levitan, guys. Definitely go study some of his paintings. Russian painters they're just really, really great in general. But that was fun. I like breaking down different times of day as well. So I think we covered a lot in these three paintings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, cool. So next week I'll pick one.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
We'll see what we come up with next. All
Yeah.
right. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.